Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be talking about hair jigs on spinner rigs. I tie a hair jig that I call the Perch Persuader. I put it on a beetle spinner, and what I find for panfish is it is incredibly effective if they're willing to hit moving baits. And really it's very effective if you're fishing from I don't know, 2 feet deep to about 6 feet deep. Probably the most effective lure that I have. It's not probably, it is the most effective lure that I have. But I tie them 3 different ways, and the types of the ways that I tie them is one, I tie everything exactly the same except for the type of hair that I use for the tail. Tail number 1, I use bucktail. Tail number 2, I use rabbit hair. And then tail number 3 is marabou. If you're not familiar with these types of hairs, they are kind of like the Goldilocks, if you will. One of them is too stiff, one of them is too soft, and one of them is just right. But in reality, all of them work very well. The bucktail hair is exceptionally stiff. That actually can come into a play if the fish aren't looking for a lot of extra movement in the water. But if you're putting it on a spinner, obviously they want some movement, but it actually is just a more subtle presentation. The key with tying bucktail is you want to tie it very sparse. If you don't tie it sparse, you don't get any tail movement. That's one of the things that was difficult for me early on as I was tying these up. And I was like, these things don't work for me at all. It's because I was making it way too thick. You can see this one is exceptionally sparse. Next up is the rabbit hair. The rabbit fur is the softest, the most free-flowing. You literally could just drop it in the water, hold this thing dead still, and it's going to have an incredible amount of action. This is a great lure, especially if you're doing any kind of slow presentation. In my opinion, there isn't a better lure. And last up is marabou. This is the jack of all trades for me. It has a little bit of stiffness, a little bit of rigidity, but it also has a lot of movement to it, and they catch me a ton of fish. Pros and cons. The bucktail, one of the great things about it is whenever I tie it up, I can catch 3,000 fish on it and it's still going strong. The marabou, that's the weakest. That one there, I might catch 200 fish on it. That's still a lot. Maybe 300 fish on it before it starts getting torn up. And the rabbit hair actually is exceptionally durable. I have a rabbit tail that I've had since last year, right here. And you can kind of see the condition it's in. It's not in great condition, but this lure this year already, I've been using it from last year to this year, has probably caught me maybe 500 fish already. Now again, it's getting torn up, but it's still usable. So today I'm going to be comparing these lures. I'm going to putting them to the test and kind of see who's who and who's the best. So stick with me. Let's see what these lures can do. All right. First up, I'm going to be throwing this hair jig, or excuse me, this bucktail hair jig. We'll give it a few casts. We'll see what's the deal. Throw it out, let it drop. It's 1/8 ounce. They're all tied exactly the same other than the tail hair. All right. There's a couple casts with the bucktail. Nothing right here right now, but I'm going to keep moving. Oh, there's a hit. Another hit. A tail hitting it. That's not a good sign then. I need to actually change out then. That's one of the things I am going to do. I'm going to see if they want to hit a jig, because I got some big marks underneath of me. Oh, fish. Here we go. What do we got? That must be a stripper. Yeah. A break from the regularly scheduled program. Oh man, you gotta love striped bass. I do. Oh man, that's a big old one. That's a big old one. I'm not prepared for it. Well, it's not that big, but it's for 2-pound test, it's pretty big. For 2-pound test, pretty good. And that's on the Vibrato. Bringing them on in. There you are, guy. That is a 1/4 ounce Vibrato right there. They normally come with treble hooks, but I take them off because I don't find that I need them. Because what I don't need is a treble hook in my face. That's a nice guy. Oh man. All right, let's let this guy go and let's catch another one. Right now I got a bunch of striped bass underneath of me. Well, those fish. That was fast. Just ripping the drag, man. This is why you fish. I had a plan of what I want to do today. I'm going to talk about some hair jigs and other kind of stuff, and I see what the fish are doing, and that's how it always is for me. Every time I have a plan, it changes. Like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Everybody has a plan until you look on your fish finder and see where the fish are. Coordination almost failed me. All right, here we go. Another nice one. All right, let's get him back in. Appreciate you guys. All right, I'm gonna be back at it here. And because my plan has changed subtly since I got some fish out here, I'm gonna go ahead and use the lure that's working. Now this Vibrato, I'm gonna cast it for a little bit. The only problem with striped bass is, man, do they move. So they were all over top of me, and now they're gonna be gone or somewhere else. And I'm gonna have to travel around to try to find them. As quick as they were here, they left. There's fish. Oh, that's just a perch. I think that confused me. Confused me. And for just a perch, I'm going to use this de-hooker here. It's pretty sweet getting those fish off that quick. All right, I'm going to throw this rabbit hair jig that I've been throwing for about a year and a half. It's pretty torn up, but let's see if we can't catch a couple fish with it. Right now, everything seems to be on the bottom, and it's not generally I want to see more top action if I'm going to use this lure. They're nibbling it. There he is. He was nibbling it. But that's the rabbit hair jig. Lots of movement. Perch there. And the great thing about catching perch is you can easily unhook them. All right, so that was the hair jig. I think that was the first cast. Second cast here. Just throw it out. It's an 1/8 ounce. Let it drop down for a second. Throwing in shallow water. It's from 3 to about 7 feet deep over there. Don't know if it's going to make a difference or not, but I think I'm going to use this chartreuse perch persuader for a little while, just to see if it makes any kind of difference. There's fish. I think that's going to be a striped bass. It's going to pull me into cover here. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get broken off here. It's trying to get me into some structure over here. If it's not a striped bass, it's a pretty decent sized perch. I think it might be a decent sized perch. No, it's a striped bass. There we go. And that's the chartreuse perch persuader right there. Fish right here. Almost an all striper day. Got some fish underneath of me. I'm just going to check them out real quick, see who's who right underneath of me. Oh, there's, sorry to say they're nibbling at me. They're nibbling me, but couldn't get them to engage, I guess, because they're little old guys. I appreciate you anyway, guy. All right, I'm going to throw a couple more casts over here, because I bet you there's a striped bass. Again, this is the chartreuse perch persuader. This one is actually the marabou. You got these little 16th ounces right here. They're just the ever so little bit smaller. I see you over there, guys. Those fish, he nibbled me. I even put, there he is. Let's see how small these guys are. Yeah, they're pretty small. That's the reason. That's the reason. That's the 16th ounce perch persuader. I got some stuff underneath this fish. That's an alright one. See what all the commotion's about over here. Definitely got some striped bass blowing up. I'm just changing colors of these perch persuaders. This one is the marabou. This is just straight marabou. Colors that are pretty effective. White, silver, commander's color, chartreuse, and at times even pink is a good color. Fish. That seems like a striped bass right there. That seems like a striped bass. Oh, there's a bunch of striped bass underneath of there. You guys can probably see it better than I can. Oh, I see him underneath him. I want to jig on him. If I can hurry up. Get this guy up. Dangerous, and I broke him off. 2-pound test. Oh man, I am an idiot. I do dumb things at times. And since that, I happen to have one more commander color. Right here. Seems like it's drawing some hits in, where the white, for whatever reason today, not as much. Got these big rays over here, coming towards me apparently. Please don't come too close to me, guy. I'm not interested in you. There it is. Cow-nosed ray. Hopefully you can see it. There she blows. Alright, I think we're going to wrap the day up over here. I don't know that today proved anything per se. The perch persuader, all I was trying to do was really just show the differences between hairs, the tail hairs, for the perch persuader. We got bucktail, marabou, and rabbit hair. What I find personally is that rabbit hair and marabou actually perform pretty well, pretty similarly, depending on the circumstance, but I don't really catch much on bucktail around here, period. Not striped bass, it don't make a difference what species of fish it is. I don't really catch a lot on bucktail. Another fish. Plenty of them over here. That's a striped bass. Got some followers behind him too. These are the ones, I love this de-hooker right here. Fish that size really want to drive a hook into my hand, and the de-hooker prevents that. Here's fish. They're just nibbling like crazy. They're just hitting it at an area that doesn't have any hooks on it. But again, this doesn't have treble hooks, so if you had treble hooks, you'd probably be hooking up with a lot more of these fish. But normally I don't miss that many. But a day like today, it kind of makes a difference because they're barely just nibbling him. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up right here. It was actually a pretty good day. I was catching some pretty nice stripers early in the morning, and whenever you're catching a 2, 3, 4 pound striper on ultralight gear, man, it's a great time, man. I want to catch them like that all the time. At any rate, the goal of this video was I was going to compare the perch persuader tail hairs. So I basically just compared bucktail with marabou and rabbit hair. I think for me personally, the ones that always seem to work the best are, number 1 is marabou, number 2 is rabbit hair, and I've never really even caught a fish. I've had some nips on the bucktail. That's it. I only get a couple nips here and there. I might, on the way back, I might throw a couple more just to see if I get one total fish today on a bucktail, but I haven't got many. And the color of the day was commander's color. So any sort of gold color has been the one that's been the most productive for me. So at any rate, I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I'll see you on the water.